読む方、موشه میسوروی پیکاتو برگم پیسارا پیسارا فیکیتا نوشم هیکوی تیساhan hayaka pisara pisara ¿Qué más soy? ¿Cómo soy? Hi everyone. Hi, Tara. I know it's like hi everyone. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit to Spirit Teachers and Holy Self, on TikTok 1974 Light Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook YouTube channel because I saw that switch. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and really encourage you to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teachers and Going Within Self, to get a better understanding of what I do bring on my channel. Now, that's a trigger warning. Spirit has taken me down. There's deer in my backyard. Spirit has taken me down the white people rabbit hole. I said it's going to trigger a lot of. It's going to trigger people because we've been under certain belief systems of how life is portrayed and who came what and what have you. So I went down the white people rabbit hole. And surprisingly, it took me to Noah's Ark. Oh, goddamn. Here we go. Ready? It took me to Noah's Ark. Okay. Everybody knows about the flood, right? Now, do you know how people say about with regards to Noah's Ark, Noah and his wife and 3 children were the ones to inherit the earth, correct? Because everything else was flooded. I know they're finding other arks. Okay. So the earth got flooded. So you say in your books that Noah and his family were the only humans to survive. Correct? That's what you teach. Now, fighting over color, correct? Okay. My channel not for anyone. I make you laugh, make you cry, piss you off, run by my head, and hey, keep your hands to yourself. But by all means, bring it energetically, and You know, you're gonna love me, hate me, like me, loathe me, and this is gonna be a butthurt trigger warning. And you will deny it being said. Okay? You know, take offense to this, like the indigenous and you know, and the people of color. Okay? So like I said, it's gonna butt hurt a few people, and, you know, well, who was Noah? You know him as Noah building the ark, correct? But what I suspected before, and I had said about it, how, okay, you'll tell me I'm wrong. But what I'm looking at says differently to you telling me I'm wrong. Now, a while ago, I said basically the first people, you know, the flood, after the flood, the first, like, you know, the people were white skinned. But, you know, people would get angry at this, and I could feel it. You just want to throw it out, okay? But what I found out was I heard just spit it out. Okay, so we're going back to Noah's Ark. Okay, Noah himself. Asked if Noah was albino. Does anybody know what albino is? Okay, based on ancient based on ancient non canonical texts, particularly the book of Enoch. Hey, Enoch. Boy. You know, they took it out of your Bible, right? Well, they didn't take it out because they tried to keep it out. And I believe in there it is. In the Ethiopian Bible. Where's the books here? Oh, right here it says Ethiopian Bible in English, 88 books, including complete Apocrypha, Psalms, Enoch, and the books of the Bible. Okay. Now, okay. According to the book of Enoch, 1 Enoch 106, and the deep sea scrolls, especially 4Q538-40536, I believe that says, part of the Genesis Apocrypha. Noah is described as having features consistent with albinism, such as skin as white as snow, red white as snow, red rose skin, and hair as white as wool. Skin as white as snow. The details about the description of Noah. Appearance, its body was described as white as snow and red as a rose, and hair as white as wool. Almost much like some people depict Santa Claus as white, with rosy cheeks and beard and hair as white as snow. So people are, and I also found out that white people was in North Asia in roughly 50,000 years ago. So when the indigenous come over from Asia, the Mi'kmaq, when they come over, is it possible that they were actually those white people? But see, you won't look at it that way. But we'll get into it, okay? Because I was looking into it. I just heard the word Nordic. But see, all of this certain stuff that takes things out of the context so that people don't really know what did they do, you remove it, right? So the descendants of Noah were more albino white. So if Noah and his children were the ones to, repopulate the earth, eyes. The text states that the eyes were so bright they illuminated all the houses like the sun. So his eyes were golden. He was white and his eyes were gold. Three descriptions are often as a sign of his unique divine or angelic nature rather than just a physical condition. With his father initially fearing the child was not his. You know, people of color can have albino children. Okay. But you're saying the whole earth was flooded and the only to survive was Noah. So, I guess people of pigment, white, we are the descendants of Noah. So if Noah was the one chosen to save, hmm, so now I want to know why people are fighting over color when you all say that, like people say that Noah, it's all three books, Noah's Ark, Noah's Ark, Noah's Ark, Noah. Where to go? Okay, because it talks in the book of Genesis. First appears in the Hebrew Bible as one of the three sons of Noah, saved from flood through the ark. Talks about Ham. So I was watching, like, you know, it's talking about the Israelites, okay, which, I said, like, I did my genealogy and I go back 11 generations from my, uh, okay, so I go from my grandfather to my great grandfather to my great great grandfather, which married my great great Grammy that was a Levy. Originally, the family was Halevi, so I went back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 generations from my grand. Well, actually, it would have been 12 generations because I didn't include my mom. So you say about the Israelites, okay? And they were the 12 tribes of Levi or what have you. And then you say about the Canaanites. So I bet you if you went back in another part of my genealogy, you would find that I am, well, I'm a descendant of the Canaanites and the Levites. Bute. So then, okay, the Israelites are saying, okay, so there's two parts to it. So were the Levites the white man of Noah, or was it over time? Because it said, we're all descendants of Noah, correct? So what happened? I'm sitting here because Spirit has me sitting with this for a minute because sometimes it's hard to process, but people, even though it's right in your face, will still deny it because I've seen certain Israelites and or Canaanites who fucking knows, but you're racist against one another. The Bible does not explicitly state Abraham's skin color based on his origin in Mesopotamia. You're of the okay. He was likely olive skinned, brown, or a shade topical of the Near East. So is that part of why you're shooting down white people. I guess you had no understanding. And you probably still won't understand this, but you'll still tell the story. And, the ones that said, like, white people didn't show up until the 1600s, what fucking paperwork are you reading? Or you just going with another narrative? Some interpretations suggest a darker or black appearance, through most scholars point to Middle East, non-white, non-black, or mixed appearance. But, is hmm, Abram is a descendant of Noah. I hear a lot of people on TikTok who they're preaching about God and they're preaching all these biblical stories and about the flood, but what? Like, you're looking at the event, not the person, and then you're fighting over color and who was here first and what have you. And like I said, here it is here. Where'd it go? Let me see. It looked good. Okay. Now I looked into the Micmac. Oh, what have you? Okay. You'll probably take offense to that because I didn't pronounce it. But when I looked into it, the Micmac actually came from Asia. So where did white people originate from? White people evolved light skin over thousands of years in north climates, primarily Europe and North Asia. As a result of genetic mutation, it says. But was it genetic mutation or, when was the flood? Likely starting 20,000 to 50,000 years ago, which helped early humans absorb more vitamin D from sunlight. This absorption is allowed for better survival in low sunlight environments. So when the Micmac or what have you, Mi'kmaq, what have you, came over, you came from Asia. And, there may be a possibility that you were light skinned. But I see people on here of indigenous saying the white people. You came from the same place, but you won't believe that because sometimes certain individuals they have to feel superior to everyone, and then they say that it's the minority that is the problem. So what you're doing is, so if it's the minority, then what you're doing is you're actually trying to kill Noah's people. Who was Abram's father? Tahara, or something like that, right? It was the mystics. Because I know that there are some people who are what you class as mulatto, however you pronounce it, okay? And sometimes what can end up happening is you become racist towards half your family because you're taught in certain aspects of it to have a chip on your shoulder for what stands out. So if you are mulatto, you're more, you see, some people see themselves more black because, like I said, I knew somebody years ago who thought that way. Okay, person of color. Okay, so was Abram half white and half of color? Because I read that color it's passed down from the gene, right? Okay, so if Noah was albino, then that would be passed down. But as you got closer to the sun and more sun exposure, and your body was more able to absorb vitamin D, that's when you started changing more in pigment. It's easier to gain pigment than it is to remove it. Okay, I know that they've found like okay, in excuse me, I will use the word black culture, okay, African culture. Okay, there you say that they depict it as brown people, but people have been around longer than what you've been told. Okay, because you've been told about Noah's Ark and you perceive it to be this like this many years ago, what have you. So hey, my channel brings a whole lot of different, and I don't just go random like random. Spirit shows me and guides me where to go and what to bring forward. Garasito Purigam. Yakutukuye Hamana. So while you're telling your stories, Noah, and you're doing it in your churches, you're doing it with one another, you're fighting on it. You're even trying to figure out where Noah's Ark is. You are on Noah's Ark. But it's a laboratory. When they say about going to the new earth, it means they are using you to inhabit different versions of earth to repair from the flood. And the DNA manipulation is what it is what is happening. The earth is the actual Noah's Ark. Noah was given dominion, correct? You say Noah was given dominion over the earth. He stored all the animals, okay? Because that would be okay. You believe it was a ship, and you believe that a whole bunch of fucking animals got put on to a ship, and they were all shitting all over the place. Does it remind you of anything? You know, you're talking about your crystal. You know, CERN opening portals is like portals on the earth from the outside. So, like ships coming into the actual perceived mother father ship. The earth is Noah's Ark. It's a laboratory. That's why you say that your governments are doing this and doing that, and they're signing with these other affiliations to do experiments on you. But you know, there's certain individuals who won't believe that, right? Does that not remind you of something like a bunch of mice or rats in a lab rat in a laboratory? You're mixing animals. What do you do to mix animals? You mix them in a laboratory, correct? So Noah and his family, as you say, you know, they would have been the first to bring life back. So the old Earth, okay, it was like the old Earth imploded. They had to get out before, and I guess before it imploded. You know, the planet Terra it imploded. And that was the main Earth. That was more of the mother, one of the main Earths, correct? It was bigger. Where do you think the word Terra Nova comes from? A nova is a big star explosion. Fucker! What you're seeing is the smaller ships, boat ships that you're seeing. They are ships coming in. Kita no tahanan, hey? Yes, moy. You go outside in space. There's no gravity, correct? But somehow there's gravity on Earth because you say one glass dome, which you know that's the outer of the ship of Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is a ship. It's a ship, but it's a literal ship that gives the appearance much like a planet because you know they had to form something in order to do their laboratory experiment. So what you're busy fighting over color and about treaties and about the past and everything like that, you're not realizing the bigger fucking picture here because you're too distracted, freaking with a chip on your shoulder over who's what. The one thing you all have in common is you've all been a fucking experiment, including putting you against one another, which, I said it a while ago, first man was white, was albino. Noah, white as snow. But, you'll keep coming on here and saying, your tax dollars don't pay for us. Or someone wants rations. You demonize the albino man. According to that, he's the father of science. So I was chosen to repopulate the earth, right? Well, he had to start by repopulating inside of a ship. Because when the Terra blew up, exploded, it caused the wave was not literal water per se, as it was a force of atmospheric energy, which could appear to have, your droplets. But people will look at me and think I'm stupid. Well, that's all the power to you. But, go back and read your books and figure that out. They knew that it was getting close. So they had to go around and start collecting. Is Mars actually Terramar? Is Terramar one of the ships that was able to escape too? People look, like I said, you'll look at me like I have 100 fucking heads, but yet you'll talk about it. You'll say stuff that just, the different levels of the earth. What do you think the different levels of the earth would be? The different levels of the ship. Right? That's why in between you have the core as the apple. Noah was told all this. So when you have the top of the apple as the top, then you have the trunk, and then you have the below. So when you have that, what you have is, okay, if the experiments go bad, where do they get put? They get put underneath, right? but then they escape. And that's what you're seeing right now. So you have the bridge. You could call them your tunnels. But London Bridge is actually that in between, the bridge between the two. Que siento porque muestra. Isso é. So que mãe, minha sentada, era toda chikumara, minha não do canhara, e tudo ali. It's like the spirits say like you're looking at me like I got a fucking hundred heads, and why can't you just get it? Why don't you get it? Why can't you see it? Poor girl. Listen, one day you say about a matrix, you say about a simulation, but you're too busy fucking fighting over whose color is more dominant. And you tell me I'm stupid? You're fucking ignorant. Everybody, if people say, you feel like you're not home. So welcome to the Noah's Ark Laboratory. How may we be of service to you? But you know, psychiatric unit will tell me I'm crazy. And you won't even take the time to look into anything I say. Welcome to the show of the crazy lady, which isn't actually crazy at all. Yeah. The crazy gene is the God gene, which is the connection and the understanding of what you can't really see. I said it before. Why do you think they can't get out? You said because of a permanent. Somehow your moon is inside of the firmament. So the moon is 384,400 kilometers from the Earth, and the firmament is 391,000 kilometers from the Earth. That's, but your moon is inside, but every other planet you talk about is billions of kilometers from here. So it's outside of the firmament. But you still won't get it. See, the core of the Earth, what you perceive to be the core of the Earth, that is the energy source that's keeping the ship going. And it's, you know, you heard Hillary Clinton say about breaking the glass. heating up the firmament, and is it actually come up like a bad event if the fir when the firmament melts, or is it actually to those of you who say like they feel like they're not home and we're going home? That's how you go home. That's how you're 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 leaving the laboratory. The Earth is an experiment. It's a laboratory so that they can repopulate the other planets again. Why do you think that fucking Elon Musk is so like horny over getting to Mars? Do you know what do you have to hit upward in order to break something way up? And you got the peak on it, right? So you to break something, you say you have to take like a pickaxe and you have to freaking poke it and you have to get it in the right spot. But see, this is not stuff they teach you in school. Of course not, because it's actual history. They don't teach you about how they've been like with regards to manipulating DNA. You go to university and you learn to do that well, but they don't want to tell you that that's what they're doing or that that's what's being done. And to you, to people who don't have an open mind and can't see things other than just what's in front of them or what's put in front of them or hear what's told to them and not bother like listening outside of it or going in here and actually observing and seeing and hearing everything that's being said. And then, exacto, no te creas tu visión. So you actually can't like okay, you'll say Abram's descendant. Well, Abram was a descendant of Noah, so Noah was albino. So you came from the albino man of no color, or you say the white is all the colors combined. But it's man, like he's the man of no color. But snow. I said Noah was white as snow. Was that describing, you know, what you would class as like an ice age, like snow? But I caught that with people. It was like a just kind of voice. Because being flung out of the solar system. So when planet Terra Nova exploded, Do you think maybe the meteor or the stuff that you say is in outer space? I know people say space ain't real, but all the what you call meteors and rocks and everything like that, is it possible that it's coming from the planets that have like nova, and the biggest one being Terra? Dice la que tu coreano torreciono, you got you got your old people have the old maps. You know, Earth is Terra, but this is like, you look at all these, okay, and there's a map where it has like Terra being one of the planets. It's like Gaia was birthed out of Terra. So if Terra imploded, they have a ship Gaia. Are you living like Noah's Ark left? Or are you like they say the new Earth is Gaia? Terra, the Terra Nova went off billions of years ago. Like I believe it was billions of years ago. So the Mother Earth, the mothership that comes to the mothership. And it's almost like it's a war over the mothership. It's, the mother saying, get the fuck off my ship. Either that or be peaceful. It's like, that's why when the earth is shifting, right? Okay, so what's happening? It's like you get fleas, and then you're all like animals or like that. So, London Bridge between is that, is it the formation of Noah's Ark because it's an anchor that connects, correct? Que era conhecido por ela. So they're keeping you distracted fighting over flat Earth, round Earth. They're keeping you distracted over like who's the superior one because of color, and who like seriously fucking blow up. So I say people want truth. They say truth and reconciliation, truth and reconciliation. If you really wanted the fucking truth, you'd stop fighting first off and start listening. It's that part of the snake chasing its own tail. It's like, when are you going to get your fucking head out of your ass and start seeing?
I don't know everything, but I do know, like, when something's sitting right in front of you and it's fucking common sense when everybody's talking about it and nobody wants to hear it. It's like all the stuff that you say, I just put it into, you know, still search for Noah's Ark. Some people even say that Earth is a jail, it's a prison. Some people say that it's a school. Even some of us are learning it through hard knocks. And some of us are being distracted. And sì, tutto che queremos hacer. Crazy theory, crazy shit. We have to see beyond the veil and this is like, you don't have, if you really sell with everything that's in front of you, you wouldn't have to feel like you had to get outside into space to look down and see what it is you're fucking looking at. The firmament you say is clear. It's like looking through glass. But certain individuals will say, "Oh, that's not true at all. That's not real. That's just fucking conspiracy theory, or it's myth." Only to those who are not ready to understand beyond your comprehension. Unless you go searching, you only know what is put in front of you, what is taught to you by a dogmatic system. My dragon came to me this morning, early this morning, in a vision dream. It comes as a little, just a little tiny thing. It's cute. A very metallic blue with rainbow colors that were also metallic. You know, certain cultures, they see the dragon. The dragon is they worship it. This dragon is a symbol of God. You look at the planet, you say Mother Earth and Father Sky, right? So Mother Earth would be Terra slash Gaia. Uranus is the father. Uranus is that dragon. That's why people say the dragon is waking up. Dragon You all fire, but all fire, you try to walk on, just breathe. And let this lift. Does it sound like a familiar story? Only it's in inner earth. It's what's heating the inside of the earth up. But you read your books, your science fiction. You believe science fiction is not real. You know, you read your Bible, you'll believe it's real, but you know, hey, it's got a lot of stuff that portrays to what you perceive to be science fiction. It has a lot of myth. You know, it does talk about dragons in the Bible. You know, you look at China and different parts of the world, the dragon, but you know, people will leave you to believe that it is dark. You know, if I was that dragon too, I'd be fucking pissed off. You know, people say like that's fucked up, Paul. That's fucked up, because you can actually hear certain people who would be saying it too. You're fucking retarded. Proud to be retarded. Because if retarded means you're weak, then I'm extremely proud to be retarded. Because that's what you call people who are like, they say like the funny annoying. Shit, maybe I should take a picture of that with regards to the color of Noah. And then maybe you'll start fighting over the color and stop referring to people of what you perceive to be white. You white people, that's what you say. And you ignorant people with a chip on your shoulder. You get irritated with me for that. If it's Noah's Ark and you're coming into it, or you're of Noah's descendants, which, you know, according to that, you are, because you're in this fucking laboratory. So I guess that, you know, if we're all descendants of Noah and this is the Noah's Ark, the earth is Noah's Ark, then I guess we're all indigenous, correct? But people will fight over trees and then they get pissed off at me. I understand people want, like, you know, you want to hunt moose. Well, you know, so do what you perceive to be white man. But you seem to feel more privileged than a white man and say that the white man is the one that thinks it's privileged. I guess that's called reverse psychology, right? Is it going on? But you know, you'll even fight about that because you'll fight over what color Jesus was supposed to be, which some even say that he was a gold color. So I guess he wasn't one war around, was he? You know, I'm just saying that's how ridiculous it sounds when this has it because you know you keep repeating history and you don't move on, but you keep saying about truth and reconciliation, but you don't move on from it. You just expect people to just bow to you because that's what you're fighting over. Who's going to be worshipped? Who's going to be the superior? It's still the albino, the man of no color. But that offends people because I said that because I could feel it. Because when I said a man of no color, I could feel that draw, which is sad for you. It just goes to show ignorance. And ignorance means lacking in knowledge. I don't like, I listen to people. I listen to like different things from each aspect of how people are perceiving it. And then I sit with it. That's why, like, when I'm on here and I start asking, like, just random questions, the reason why I'm asking random questions is because that's the only way that you're going to get to the truth is by bringing things forward to analyze and look through and see how each piece fits where. And if you try to force it in, that's why when you ask questions, ask it in different ways. That's why when you go into a courtroom, a lawyer will, you know, sometimes they'll even ask you the same question 5 times, only they'll reword it. I had that happen one time, and I just looked at the lawyer and said, like, you know, you already asked me that question a number of times, only you worded it differently. And I looked at the judge, like, you know, judge. So the judge stopped him. Que molto parecia amor. So now, like, people are fighting in Abram's land. It's fucking Noah's descendants' land. So if it's Noah's descendants' land, then I guess that means it's everyone's land because if Noah was the one to repopulate the earth, then I guess that's where we're all the indigenous. But you go looking at skin. Or, you know, you go by spirituality, which, you know, hey, if you actually look at it, it's your own fucking stories. It's what you have in Genesis for, you know, the Bible scholars and the ones who want to get up there and preach about it. And then talk about Cain and Abel. Abel was Cronus, or, you know, who knows? But Abel was the aggressor. But your stories have you so wrapped up that you know you're going to feel butthurt by what I just said because you've been told that to glorify Abel
poor little Abel. Do you know you're talking about Noah? Just a different branded name, different version of the story. You know, isn't Adam and Eve much the same story? You say Adam and Eve had 3 sons. See, that's the things that you don't put together because, you know, you just go blind. And then preach about having eyes to see. Eyes to see, you cannot matter what perspective you like, what way you look at it. Whether you look at it from energetic, as well, a spiritual, a physical, a scientific, a mythological. Que la toda siquiera acaricie, no, no voy a let them more. But you don't ask questions. And then you shit on people who do question things. Please do, like, you know, if you're not just, you know, you're not learning much in the schools that you're in right now, so you may as well just be sitting there just twiddling your thumbs. Because it's not teaching you how to do anything, it's just teaching you how to fucking fight with them. The math isn't even right. Why do you think nothing's gonna everything will fall apart? What? Weeks fine, you're lucky if you get a year to 2 years out of it. Then you know you're still fighting over what color of person invented what. You're racist against your own people because everybody is each other's people. So I'm going to ask, why do you go in your churches? Why do you talk about Noah's Ark and Noah and his ark and family and things like that if you're not going to look at the bigger picture? You just want to see, oh, big flood. He put a bunch of animals on one ship. They wouldn't have time. Think of it this way, okay? You have Abram's father is Ahara. You know, is it like, you know, who is it? The Torah looks like? You know, I know that's like, you know, what have you. You'll take offense to that. But, you know, hey, I'm asking questions. And if people are getting irritated with that, well, you know, and you're getting offended, well, too fucking bad. Grow up. Just go hard. You can put your little skill. You know, you say about the light bringer, okay. Who would be the light bringer? Okay, so
you're saying about certain people are saying about Christ, hail Zeus. Jesus is hail Zeus. Well, what does Zeus do? Zeus has the you swear the Flash, right? You know, I'm not preaching the Bible to you, but some will think that I'm coming in here and preaching about God. No, because God doesn't want you to preach. God wants you to practice what you preach, but understand what you're preaching first before you try practicing it. Because if you don't, then you're not going to learn from it. And people got irritated with me on that because I felt it right in here. Do you think it's like where'd it go? See, so okay, now when I say about the laboratory, okay, what are they doing? Right? You have CRISPR. Okay, you say about CERN of they're manipulating time. Are they trying like when they're manipulating? Are they trying to remove something that you know they shouldn't have put in place in the first place? No, but or is it they're escaping? It's like a mad. It's like if you seriously CRISPR look at laboratories of DNA manipulation. The Earth is it. That's why you're seeing all these different animals and there seem to be creatures and that's why you're seeing all this. That's why some people are having dreams that they're escaping from a fucking laboratory and say they were abducted because they were. But you laugh at them. They were taken from certain places and taken further into the laboratories. So you're gonna okay. If it wasn't for Noah creating and procreating, he used his own family's DNA too, and his own to create humanoids. You won't believe that, Linda, for fuck's sakes. Why do you think they're putting up so many hospitals right now? They're getting rid of the small ones and putting you into big fucking hospitals. I'll tell you right now, society would work better with the small hospitals than fucking large hospitals. The money they put into that and fucking class it is non-profitable. Each small hospital could have enough space to be able to do that and appropriately. But they can form you to one place and then you only have like their alternatives. You can't go get your own. You can't request your own. They refer you. Well, you should be able to say who you want to be referred to. So why don't they allow that? Holy crap, I'm sweating in the back. And that sun's coming in and it's like durissimo mia commocionara. So I think next time I hear people saying about color and race and all that, I'm just gonna laugh at you. because you're not actually seeking truth. Because if you were, you would stop fighting over your car. You know, I think that little dragon told me something one time. Sometimes you have to speak their language. And even then, they don't always catch it. Because they don't even like to hear themselves when they speak that language because they always deny speaking it. That's why it's said, you know, do you hear yourself when you speak? Because I've heard people say different things and question different things, but you know, and then you ask them about it again. Well, I didn't say that. Or you convey something to someone and you know they shit on you, but then like 2 months down the road, maybe even a year down the road, they come to you and say, "Oh, well, I just learned this on this podcast or something like that." It's like, really? You forgot that I told you that about a year ago, right? Che sono scialanoisana? Cos'è? What? Mi ha dato lì, non riesco a no? Oh, yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Damn head scratcher, everyone. Questo è tu pure che ne montare insieme a me. Come on. You know, I have books, but I don't read. I am not like, I go where spirit guides me to go, and then I look into it. Spirit will give me these random questions, and then I'm guided to go ask the question. Which, you know, believe me, sometimes it sounds like a stupid question, but it doesn't become a stupid answer. It becomes like, oh, yeah, what? So, you know, do like the reason why is sometimes they want to shut down um, the internet, which is the information waves in many ways, because it's what actually gets people going down a rabbit hole. But it's when you're going, it's being able to step aside and see it, opposed to be right in it. So you're seeing different versions. You learn more by questioning things and going and looking into it than you do sitting in a classroom. The way they stitch you there. Sit still, you're not learning, you're remembering how to do it. Because if a new concept come out, would you be able to comprehend it? Or would it totally send you for a loop? Like you look at Gen X and Millennium and their kids are going to school today. And those parents are looking at their math and they're saying, like, what the fuck is this? Let's go climb ladder. È venuto perché su can't believe me, I know how crazy. And thank you. I'm proud to look like crazy because it means that I have the God. The crazy gene is the God. And it comes with every one of you. Because, you know,
who it was, the mad scientist. È stato pure in film, non tu, ce l'hai la via, che sa, I'm well aware. I'm very much aware. And like I said many times, I see myself in two cameras here, and I'm experiencing it. But that's the way you're going to come to true truth and reconciliation. You have to come to that within yourself. It's stepping away from like saying, dividing yourself color, race, or culture, or this or that. It's expansion. Like why does it matter? I had a person. I had a person who was in the Mormon church, and I wanted them to make me a tiara using crystals. Well, that's against the religion, so they would make it. And it's like their crystals are in your phone, they're in your watch, but you're against it. Please step away from your electronics now if you're against crystals. Watched the video, and this woman was saying about that she went to church, to a specific church, because there was something to do with Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, which Mary Magdalene. Now, someone commented on there with regards to that. What do they like? Why are they celebrating that as supposed to be Jesus Christ? And then they went on to say about man. And what I had said to them, how did they put it? Absolutely wild. Because Dominique said that it's all about the man. Like shit, if it was all about the man, then I guess holy fuck, man, I'd have to question Noah's sexual activities. Because there'd be a bit of, well, I wouldn't say bestiality, but you know, if he was using his own sperm for animals.
egg had to come. The egg had to be there. So you would still remove the female. You say Father, Son, Holy Spirit, which then people say that the Holy Spirit, that's a man. So where did the egg come from? Where did the incubator? But the female womb came first. You needed the female womb. It was easier to put animal DNA into a female than it would be for a male to put into a female animal to try and produce humans. Did you get that memo yet? Yeah. What do you think the Titans are? Can't come at all. On the thing. Come on. What's up? I don't know what it is. Excuse me. I asked him to get me some. I got that stuff because well, that's supposed to be close to organic. I go as organic as I can. I'm not full organic because I don't know which ones to go half the time, and I don't understand why organic is more expensive. So hey, but it's that they were and here they were creating plants, and that's why they were. That was the part of the Adam and Eve, or well, Adam and Eve, and they were naming was Noah's wife, his daughter, or sister, because that's the way it was. But when I said daughter, because I had much strong reason to believe that Eve was actually Adam's daughter. Because Sophia was Adam's mother. And Eve was actually Adam and Noah's child. So I'm going to ask again, with knowing that Noah was albino and everyone came from Noah, I have to ask again, why are you fighting about land? Why are you fighting over color? Because you can't say the land is yours. It's everyone's. Even the ones fighting over land. You can't go tear that down and just say, we're going to build this fucking resort because you got your horny on. And then people will say about what's happening to the children, but you will go to these resorts that are supporting this behavior or that behavior. Está dando una right there. I see energy going right there. It's like I see that. It's like a funnel. And you can actually see the spiral going. Acerto muito. They can't stop what's coming because the weight already hit. It's just catching up. They're scrambling because it happened possibly 5 years before it was supposed to. Direttore che verso le carai non corri. So welcome to Noah's Ark. Big Star, the Project Movie. It's like they'll tell you not to even believe their memories. Some things are an illusion in the concept of to distract you, to make you believe that certain things that are real, they will not leading you to believe that it was AI generated, which, hey, it's like different levels of reality. Go look at, go watch your Star Trek or those shows and look at the different levels they have on their ships, right? They're round. Well, they resemble a round Earth or a flat Earth because it's either shaped like a ball, but you know, mothership coming, it would look look around from a different, like, but they can't even get to the moon. So how are they getting to Mars? How'd that rover get on Mars if they can't get to the moon? That's why I say, can people hear yourself? I'm being rude, I'm asking the question. You'll love me, hate me, like me, love me. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off. You want to punch me upside my head, and hey, keep your hands to yourself, but by all means bring it energetically. You'll look at me like a raging lunatic. You'll even try telling me I'm a stupid moron idiot. But with all due respect, I'm not the one remaining in the loop and only seeing it from a narrow perspective. And then you like talking about it, but not hearing or putting anything together because you don't want to hear what the other person has to say, because that might mean that you can be positive. Build your cognitive. Empathy is a way of beginning to see things from a different perspective. It helps you to open up your eyes, your energetic eyes. It's like ghosts of like the projection. You don't believe that, there's already different cloaking shields that a person can put on them and not even see the vicinity. That's sometimes that could even be why you feel like somebody is standing next to you, or they're just in that space, in that ether empty space. Some people say space isn't real. You're in ether, but there's a space in between. Not what you perceive like a specific type of space. I didn't think there would be like there's no gravity outside the body, right? Or you get so far out of space, you say there's no gravity. Well, in order for or to be in a gravity field, would you not have to be put in an enclosed structure? And you'll say, well, that's the firmament. That's called a force field, a crystal force field. Didn't the Anunnaki say about wanting the gold so that they could put a golden dome? It's like a force field, a crystalline force field. How would gold glow? Put gold in the sun, what does it do? Put white gold in, what does it do? It's like snow. The sky is falling. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Sarah. Crystal firmament. You cool the earth down, but where you have to cool it from is from the inside. But it's the light bringer. The light bringer is the one that removes the firmament. That's why you have what you perceive to be the mountain. When the planet was flung out, okay, it went into that, it became one solid crystalline glass ball. So they live in it. And then it's melted. But you'll laugh at me. You go right ahead. Don't say you're seeing things in the sky and putting them on your cameras and then uploading them and say, oh, or seeing electrical balls going around, and then they'll try to dismiss that as, oh, well, this is such and such a phenomenon. It's different forms of DNA manipulation. But you'll tell me you know, but the ones that are doing it, no. And that's where most of your government funding goes. If you go and you watch the series Utopia, towards the end, the girl on there, she finds out that her father, her whole life, was doing experiments on her. It's like selling to the military. So I always think military people. I didn't hate military people, but I always said that I would never be with a military people. Apparently, for totally good reason. Because there's things that happen to you, you don't know why you would, you don't know why you have this fear. I feel for the people that go to the military. They're doing it. So pretty good. Sí, 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 como Nikola Tesla didn't die, but you can see that he could create life. He could create that. Just remember that Nikola Tesla said if you were to see him to be a certain, he would relate to a certain people, a certain personal life from this. But, you say that name and people will damn near shit themselves. It's just a fucking name. It's just a name. And it wasn't his real name. So, yeah, people really actually. So we didn't like what he said there because they felt it was what it felt it right. Yeah. It's like some people try to, it's like trying to remove your tongue to stop you from speaking. That's what it is, to silence, cut off your ability to speak. I know somebody who told me that, they feel like they can't, like something's cutting them off being able to talk. It's like shutting them down. It's like, well, to the one that told me that, you need to push through it because, something may come out and yes, it may bother someone, it may offend them. But, that's where speaking your truth and others cut you off, it's like, that's where people get really fucking guilty. But with regards to fighting over skin color and then referring to people as the white people, you came from that white people because you came from Noah. So you came from a man of no color, albino. So I would say that, when people have albino children, that's their natural state. The same as your Hopi prophecy, you say about the white spirit. Noah was basically much the white spirit. You get excited about, uh, like, the white buffalo. You're seeing white ravens and people are seeing white deer and everything now. So it's like something that is not something that you would normally see. That's part of the Hopi prophecy. The Bible will, in your prophecy, you said Jesus. So, like I said, the white people, it takes you back to Noah. So much. I'm sure I really understand it. Yeah, yeah, hold
I opened the Bible. Okay. I opened to Exodus 23:20. A promise of the Lord's presence. See, I am sending an angel before you to protect you on your journey and lead you safely to the place I have prepared for you. Pay close attention to him and obey his instructions. Well, is it obeying him or was it actually obey their instructions? Do not rebel against them, for for they might receptive and he will forgive your rebellion. This year, see, when I read, it's not, when I read into the Bible, it's like my body tells me that there's something not right about that word or about that in itself. But remember, this year is also Genesis, or not Genesis, the Old Testament. I was Spirit brought me to this in Genesis. Cain and Abel. Now Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant. When she gave birth to Cain, it said, "With the Lord's help, I have produced a man." That with the Lord's help, I have produced a man. Later, she gave birth to his brother and named him Abel. Now, when they grew up, Abel became a shepherd, while Cain cultivated the ground. Okay. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crops as gifts to the Lord. So, fruits, vegetables, grains, what have you. Okay? Abel also brought a gift, the best portions of the firstborn lambs of his flock. So I'll say it again, God chose flesh. So you worship Abel, the one who did the first blood sacrifice to
And the God you worship chose it. Getting it yet? It's right here. The Lord accepted Abel and his gifts, but he did not accept Cain and his gifts. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. Okay, so it was the lambs of Abel's firstborn of the lambs, which lambs in your theories represent children. The blood of the lamb, you say the Christ. They were after the Christ, they were after the baby, they were after the child, the first of the born. So Abel made a sacrifice of human flesh to God. God accepted a human flesh sacrifice. And Abel got killed by Cain, not because Cain was jealous, but because of the sacrifice that Abel made. Because Abel killed a child. And I had done before, and I'll say again, I got that the child that Abel sacrificed to God, the best portions of it, portions, cannibalism, right? The best lean of meat. It was Cain's child. But people just plug their ears on that one because you glorify Abel. You say, you didn't get the fucking part where Abel gave God flesh and God chose eating flesh over grains. Can you explain to me why you keep teaching this to your fucking children? Why do you keep teaching this to your children? And then you blame Cain, somebody who offered up grains, to somebody who offered God the firstborn of the flock. Better go get your fucking cracker again, or your little piece of bread and your fucking grape wine or grape juice, and say you're going to eat the flesh. Yeah, you're like the phone, right? Oh, yeah. And it wasn't Cain either. So yeah, hey, that's why I said, do you hear yourself, and do you go back and read the Bible and really see how dark it is, and then switch the narrative, and you'll find out the truth. I watched the thing where they were saying about like what they're doing. They don't like white people. So who don't like white people? So if it's the people that don't like white people, then holy fuck, man. I say it, yep, because certain cultures will say that if you're a cannibal, they would say that white meat tasted the best because it was sweet. It was the closest to what you perceive to pork. Is that why certain groups will not eat pork? They'll burn certain cultures will burn their bodies. And let me tell you, it smells like it's very close to resembling the smell of pork cooking. And I can say that because I actually experienced myself smelling like I am cooking. But you're not the one to do that, will ya? And I'll tell you, go fuck yourself. Because I really don't give a shit anymore. Because even if it's true, you're sitting and staring me right in the face, you still fucking deny it. But it does. Because after that, I ate ham once and then I couldn't eat it no more because the smell of it fucking made me sick. Sometimes it sometimes it feels like it smells sick, but it's like I couldn't eat it no more. It was the night that it was like uh, two huge flashes of light came between my lookers, and it sent me into it was like more than electrocution. It was like my freaking body was vibrant, like boiling from the inside out. It was like boiling on the inside. And I could smell myself. It's like afterwards, I was like, and I couldn't do nothing. I could just smell myself, and it did. It smelled like ham, and nobody was cooking. I was cooking. So now the only form of meat that I eat or that comes from is fish and eggs, and sometimes cheese. And the milk I drink, it would be almond milk. So, making a silence and then you can hear. You know, it's like saying about Noah taking a look at yourself. The sun's out, it's almost blinding, right? Yes, it's like right there, I can feel a certain like, oh, okay, it's like the headache right there. You know, I bring forward where spirit wants to lead me, take me where I go forward. God is the title, spirit is all that is. It's like right in there. There's, yeah, so I get a kick out of certain cultures that will talk about spirit and how they're connected to the spirit. But in many ways, behaviors speak otherwise because it's really understanding what the true connection with spirit is. So just because you flash yourself one way, it doesn't mean that you're solely connected with spirit. You can not throw shame on anybody, but you would perceive it because that's what people do when they don't understand or don't want to come outside of a specific narrative. Connection with spirit is connected with spirit continuously. It's not like it's not. I don't do rituals for anything. I don't do rituals. I don't do papaya or like ayahuasca or mushrooms or anything like that. I did mushrooms 2 or 3 times in my life. I think didn't really do a whole lot the first time I used them. It just felt like I had no neck. So it was like that separation. Yeah, it was like the Mad Hatter, where he went to where he went to help, and the Queen of Hearts abducted him and cut off his head. It's like much like John, and hey, I looked that up too, and when I spelled the name John backwards, with regards to John the Baptist, and I spelled the name John backwards, it come up that it represented Yahweh. So there was Yahweh involved, and for some reason I channeled. It was like I channeled back a while ago. I was hearing. I thought I was hearing it as Bula, but that may have been the way they pronounced that Bula in that time, and I spelled it a different way, like the bull, and I added and it represent when I looked in that part, it represented Peter and Paul of the church. So it was like Peter was the first pope. So with Paul of the church and Yahweh, the form of matrix. But there was someone else, but they hid that one. They actually demonized that one in the feminine version. Because, was blah, blah, and Yahweh, father and son. Some say they were brothers, but hey, Uranus and Kronos were brothers. People say that they were they were also half brothers because Uranus was the son of Terra Gaia, and Kronos was Gaia Terra Uranus's son. And that was like Nikola Tesla's father. Tesla's father was of the church, but Nikola Tesla wasn't. Nikola Tesla's mother was much like him. He was born in a thunderstorm, a lightning storm. With his father that bears with Joseph, because Joseph was Bible teacher. And Nikola Tesla's brother was just like his father. And they were fond of Tesla's mad scientist mind. But his mother was much sick. Truly connected to spirit, not to a book, but to spirit. Yeah, it's like an expansion here. It's like, It's like, yeah, geometric storm. Holy shit. Look at the way wind reacts. Little ball of what was in the soccer ball? Did the ball represent, it's in your court? And then it goes on to say about Kane, goes into nose east. When you're looking with regards to your biblical war, you're looking over there, but that's just a distraction, and that's why all eyes are over here. Because it's probably because maybe this is the east they're actually talking about. Because where is your White House? Okay, you say it's in Washington. Where is your president from? Go look it up. He's from the east. Right around the Middle East. So you say, where are the wars starting from? Well, where are the wars starting from? The wars are starting from, where is it? Way out in the middle of nowhere, middle of the ocean. Did the turtles swim here? And where was, they were picking the Pope or the one, what is it, the Prince of Peace? Wasn't that off of the list? So either, you know, the man's from the East, Middle East, or they're actually talking about his Middle East. Because it's a nexus. The White House is on the nexus. If you don't know what a nexus is, then look. This is what when they're Костюмоє, швейцари і кріхеноє. And do like the war you're going to be looking at is a masculine and a feminine. And they're going to have more than one connection, but one is going to be more of an imposter. That's why I tell you, go look at genealogy. Because that's the only way of winning a fucked up war like this. Because there's many other things they say. It's like, think of pirates. What do pirates do? They try to hijack other ships, right? And what do pirates do when others speak up about them? You know, I know the spirit took me here, but it's part of it because we're fighting over where we're from and what we look like. Delusion is like, you know, it's the lies. Sweater, many would look at me like I have multiple personalities, right? Very terrible, which is different versions of the spirit. I'm good. It's you who's uncomfortable. See? I don't because it's really gonna fucking hurt. And I mean verbally. Because it was like, shit. Not not like not be rude. Like that's how it would come off. Yeah, what the heck? Shaking loose. Because right now I'm feeling it in my chest, and it's like, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, Bring it up now. Quieres a todo el good exercise. Race in the room, yeah. Isso é pequeno. É chulo. Okay, so hey. Uh, they cut it off right in the middle of the song. That's rude. Okay. So, hey, if you're just coming in and wondering what the hell's going on and you want to know, go to my YouTube channel, Spirit Teaches Going with Himself, and it's going to be titled shit. Something rabbit hole. Yeah, it's like brain fart. Let's show me here. No, I can't get it until I turn it off. Yeah, it's weird. White people rabbit hole. Follow the white rabbit. That's what they say. Follow the white rabbit. Има на то клиентов висяй. So hey, with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wants to receive and accept, which all be big, bold, but most importantly, be yourself, be yourself, true, kind to yourself, true, kind to others, and know that you have reached. Next time you want to fight over color and refer to certain people as their skin color, just remember who you is. Get at the food you sit down.